Okay, this is my video for installing ProctorTrack and doing the onboarding process. You only have to get through this once. Um, that is, you only have to pass it once, but I would recommend doing it like 3 times, uh, just so that just so you get used to, because part of the process is the same as what you do when you take a test. The more confusing part is you only have to get through once. Okay, so the first thing, and this is really important, make sure that no apps are open, because if any apps are open, you're asking for big trouble. Okay, so on a Mac, the way you would do that is you press the Command button, maybe with your thumb. It's right next to the space, but right next to space, and then the Tab button, which is right next to Q, and all the apps that are open will come up. Only thing open is Finder, which is why we can see the background on the other files and folders. So that always runs. Okay, so we're fine. You get Firefox up. Don't use Chrome. I mean, if you want to try it, you can. You're just onboarding, so it won't. You know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I've tried it with Firefox, and because I'm recording this, it's pickier, and so it doesn't work with Chrome. Okay, so you'll go up here. If you haven't used Blackboard before, you just type in Blackboard, and usually it fills it in. I'm too tired to type. Blackboard.ohio, which is probably good because it makes it slow, right? .edu, pretty easy to remember, right? And then I would just bookmark this page like I did right here. So you can do it in one click. Your student ID, your student email address, your student password for OU, right? And then you're in Blackboard. You're probably using Blackboard for a lot of classes now, so you probably know this. Go to college algebra. I have a lot, but you'll have one probably. Something weird's going on. There we go. It was just really slow. That was slow. Okay, you won't see all this. What you're going to see is this student view, only without the orange thing there. So these are the basic rules. If you haven't read them, you should read that. But the main thing is this web test here. Now, when you open it, it might look like this. So you have to know that this gray thing is here, or you won't know what to do. You start clicking on this stuff. It's like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? You need to go over here and press on web tests. Okay? And it should go in here. If this page doesn't load here, just go back and try again. Onboarding you can do as many times as you want. These other ones you can only do once each. So that's why it's good to practice on the onboarding. After you get onboarded, just go through it again. The second time you go through the onboarding test, it's actually just going to be exactly like what happens with the regular tests. Because the onboarding downloads the app and connects it up and gets the permissions working right and everything. So that's all set up already before you do these, but it's also set up before you do this a second time. So you can do it like I did it. First time I did this, I did it 3 times. You're more likely to get one of those approved. So the passing that test means you get it approved. It just means that you have 3 things that you got right. You don't need all this for the onboarding, but read it for the actual test before. Actually read it the second time you do the onboarding, maybe. Go to next step. This is the part that's really confusing. Sometimes this pops up, but there will be nothing there. Right? It pops up with nothing there because you haven't downloaded the app yet. Sometimes it doesn't pop up at all. This time it didn't pop up at all, unless sometimes it's behind. Nope, it's not behind. So that's okay. If it did pop up, you would click on this. Well, first of all, there'd be a pull-down menu here, and you have to choose an app. You'd have to click on something to download the app, and then you would come here, and you'll see that after I click here. And then you would click in here, and you would choose that app, and then it'll just open it up and hook it up with the Blackboard. But this isn't a link, it's just a picture. This little tiny print on bottom, this is the important stuff. That just says if it didn't download already, you download it here. So you have to click there. Now you can tell if you downloaded it, because if you didn't see this button, you didn't download it. Okay? Now this is only the first time, of course, because after the first time you'll have it. So I'm going to download it. It's like, I think 28 megabytes. Oh, 26, so it's pretty small for these days. And put this on Open with Archive. It's the process a little easier than with Save File. Okay, Open with Archive utility. That'll just unzip it, right? And then this is annoying me. It always opens the window that the thing was in, but just leave it there. Let's click here. This is step 2 here. Now notice step 3, the button is hidden. So it's confusing. I did that already. If it's not connected, if it connects, you'll have a big gray box up here. It's not, so I have to wait for this time, for some crazy reason, to go to 0. That's another place you could get confused. Then it says click to manually connect to the app. Okay, so I'm going to click on that. Now it's conceivable that yours will automatically connect and you won't have to do that, but it's just there'll be less steps. The way I'm doing this demo is there's probably more steps than you would have to do. So this is just security feature of anytime you open something that wasn't an application that wasn't bought in the App Store, you have to do this. Okay, move to application folder, yeah, because then you'll know where it is if you need it later, which you will. Okay, that's just nothing for that. This, you're checking to make sure that every place that you see in this window, which scrolls, every place you see something that says ProctorTrack with their logo, make sure it's clicked. If it's in a gray area and you're trying to click it, you go down, well, you go down here, you click on the lock, and you put in your computer password. It'll unlock, and these will be ungrayed. But lately when I've been doing this, I have had a problem with that before, but it's usually if you have an app open. So don't have any other applications open, and you'll probably be fine. So you see it's checked already. So it already did this. You're just double checking it, or not double. You're checking if it's checked. Okay, so starting with camera down, microphone, you can scan through these. There's nothing. Speech recognition doesn't use. Accessibility, it shows on there, if you see the little film that went away for some reason. It has this checked for some reason, but maybe it's because the person's using those features on that computer. See, it's grayed out, but it's already checked, so I'm fine. This doesn't even have a check. Screen recording, yeah. Automation. You don't need all these checked. You need system events, system preferences, and you need the browser that you're using. I used Google in another attempt at a video, and that's why that's checked. I don't know why Dropbox is checked, but I'm just going to leave it alone. Oh no, that's for something entirely different. Never mind. They're only interested in the ProctorTrack ones. Advertising, nothing. Analytics, nothing. Okay, so everything worked fine. And you might just skip that and hope it worked, because you can always go back and start over again if you want. And if you do that, then see how this is looking here? It looks bad. Oops. It looks bad, but ignore it and just do what I just did. Okay? But if you don't check all those preferences, then you could just, this would already be up, and there's a little animation telling you what to do over here. If you just don't do this stuff over here, then you can just click here and move on. Because I've been noticing that it always has the right things checked, so it's kind of a waste of time to do that. Okay. Now here, just to be safe, kind of talk while it does this so that it knows your microphone's on, because otherwise it gives you a little pop-up and you can fix it, but sometimes it works on that. It does depend on how much noise is around you. Now this is not doing anything yet. This is actually the onboarding test. It's just facial recognition. They're testing only for 3 things. If you fail, it's because one of these 3 things is wrong. You have a clear picture of these parts of your face. You have a clear picture of your ID. Use your student ID. You can use a driver's license, but I recommend using a student ID. And you need to have the room bright enough, and like the lighting isn't behind your head. That would negate the first one though. And as long as you have those 3, you'll pass this. And sometimes you don't even have to go all the way through it, and you'll pass it anyway. I mean, you don't have to go all the way through the Hawk stuff sometimes. I would do it anyway because our tech people told me that you have to. So just to be safe. Okay, so I'm going to scan this. You have to press scan. Give you 3 seconds facing forward. 2 just face a little to the left because you have to still see that number. Or you can count to 3, I guess. I hope. Okay, I don't know why my hand's up there. Yes, if it's clear and it's visible. Now, if you had a window behind you, don't do that. You can't see your face. If you have a light right behind you, don't do that. It's bad enough with this reflected light. That's clear enough. And then you go here, you go next, and then you have to get your card, put it up there, and then you have to remember to press scan. I keep forgetting that. Where'd my ID go? There we go. Okay, so I'll just kind of get it up there in place. Okay, and then I'll just press scan. Doesn't have to be perfect. Try to hold it sort of still. I think it's taking several pictures and choosing the clearest one. Okay. And make sure you can read your name. That's the thing. You don't have to read anything else. Make sure you can read your name. If you can read your name, press yes. If you can't, press no and do it again. I've seen people get rejected because they couldn't read. This wasn't clear. Maybe they could barely read it. Yeah. If they use your driver's license, often you can barely read it. Depends on your cam and your lighting. But that's why you use this, because it's, well, I don't know what they look like now, but mine is a white background. This is obviously from a long time ago because I look pretty young there. Okay, yes. It's readable, readable. Has all the rules. We don't need that for onboarding. You don't need a mirror if you have a laptop. If you have a desktop, you need a mirror. I would suggest getting a fairly large mirror. I have this little one. Something smaller than that would be impossible. This one, it's really awkward and weird to use it. You have to show the whole room by reflecting the things in the room off of this mirror into the webcam. And it's really, it takes some talent. But you're trying to show all around the room so that you can show that there's no like post-it notes up there, like little notes that I've got up on my desk. You don't want any of that. And you'll look at the desk and show that there's nothing there. When you're going to take an actual test, you should take your papers. Actually, I'm telling you to. Take the paper you're writing on, which should be blank, not like this, and just sort of shuffle through your pages in front of the camera. Maybe go back a little ways, just to show me there's no print on it. Now, this isn't because I think you're dishonest. It's just because it's really tempting to be dishonest. And if one of your friends is dishonest about it, there's like an 80% chance that the student will be as well. Not necessarily you, but because students tend to follow in packs. And if one person's doing it, then it's not fair if you don't do it. That's the way students usually react to it. So I just want to kind of discourage you from cheating. It's not perfect, but you know, most of the students probably won't cheat as long as they know that they're being monitored somehow. So I need to scan the room. I'm not going to do it right now. I don't even know if you need to scan the room for the onboarding. It might just need to check the lighting. Maybe somebody wants to test that out for us. Just don't even scan the room for the onboarding. For the test, you have to, though. I'm just going to say yes. It plays through it again. Now, this copy could confuse someone. The copy is actually the copy for the test. So when you go into the testing center, they need a password for you to take a test. That's what this is. So you don't see the password, but you can copy it and paste it in later. So hopefully you know how to paste. If you don't, you just, on an Apple, you just go up to the top and there'll be a menu. This is Hawk's Learning. Yay! And so this is your normal password you would put in, not the thing you just copied. Okay? And so mine just comes up automatically. I'll sign in to Hawk's. So this worked. Yay, we made it. So the onboarding is really kind of done, but the people told me that this is faster. Go to web tests. The tech people told me it works more often if you actually go to a mini test. So this is just a test with one question, one arithmetic question, and you don't even have to answer it. But I'm going to answer it anyway. That's where you need the password, right? I press start my exam, and then that pops up automatically. Just paste it in. Or you can go here on a Mac and choose paste. But it's probably better just to memorize that copy, cut, cut, copy, and paste. Everybody should know those. Okay. Because they're basically the same on Windows as well. Okay, it looks like -8. -8. Now, if you're actually taking a test, of course, much of this would be the same. You would just get here and you would just take the test. And getting to this point, like I said before, it takes between 3 and 4 minutes once you know how to get there. And when you don't have to download and all that stuff, it's much easier. Excuse me. Okay, so normally, oops, I'm going to go submit. Yes, submit, just like you would with it on Hawk's. Now you have an extra step that you don't want to forget. If you look way over here in the corner, right, there's a little 2 arrows sticking out there out of the side. You have to click that, and it says end. What this does, so the ending in Hawk's just ends the text in Hawk's. And the problem is the ProctorTrack doesn't know what's going on inside Hawk's. So you have to tell it to end, and when it ends, what it does is it will take the recordings that it just made of your screen and stuff, and it will send it to them. If it doesn't do that, then what happens is the next time you open this thing, it'll try to download it again, and it'll actually pop up in here and it'll say end. So it's no big disaster, but it's safer to try to remember to end it. Think of it as send. You're sending it to, you're sending the recording to ProctorTrack, okay? If you took too long to put your password in for the test, you could have gone here and then you could, right, you could press that and it'll copy the password for the test again. Right? Because this button was actually there for quite a while. You just don't notice it. This is the chat. That is the least useful chat I've ever seen. First of all, you're done. Second of all, you have to open a little menu to find it. And third, look how small that button is. It's hilarious. Anyway, end. And then it does this. Yes, I have completed and submitted. If you haven't, you can go back to the test. But I have. And then you end, and what will happen is, just wait. If you press on end proctoring now, it won't actually do anything. It won't speed up anything. It won't do anything. Okay, and then just, what doesn't hurt, but it doesn't do anything. You have to wait for this to finish. Sometimes it takes a while to even get started. Just wait until that's finished. So now everything has been uploaded to their server at ProctorTrack. And quit the app. Do not uninstall it, because then you have to go through the hard part of this business again. Okay, so I'll quit the app. And now I'm done with that. Now what I'm going to do is, in order for me to get, because this orange thing hides these things, so I had to go there. I'm going to go through, and I'm going to actually go through like it was a test. Wait, I need a student view first. If I don't do student view, it goes to the management tools for web tests. It's not good. Okay. I'm just going to do the onboarding. No, I'm going to do chapter test 1, just so you can see. But the onboarding a second time will do the exact same thing. This quit unexpectedly, ignore, because we're going to start it up again. I don't know why it gives me that, but don't worry about it. Oh, what's going to happen when you go through it this time is you're still logged into Hawks, right? Because I didn't log out. Maybe I should have logged out, but I didn't. But you'll get the page where, well, I'll show you. It's okay, because you can just log out when you get there and then log back in. You've probably done that before, unless I'm the only person that forgets. So you're taking a test. You'll read all these very carefully, right? So you know the rules. There's something in here that's deceptive. What is it? The more you can follow these, the less your video will be flagged. If you don't follow one of these things, it'll flag your video, and it'll flag the portion of the video where the violation was. And it could be something simple like your cat jumped up on your shoulder or something. But it'll flag it, and then it'll send me a little clip with just a portion around where the flag is, so that I can look at it and see what was the flag for. You know, did somebody come in and point at the screen and start explaining something to you? That you get an F on the test for. So try to keep people away from you when you're taking the test. Find some place. If you have a laptop, you have some mobility, maybe you go on the patio if the Wi-Fi reaches, or maybe you go in a bedroom or the closet or whatever. You have to have good lighting, but you know, go in the bathroom or something if you have Wi-Fi. So anyway, we got all that. Where was the one that is handwritten notes is allowed? This is confusing because it does not refer to notes taken before the test that you bring in, or my lecture notes, you know, or anything like that. It's just saying that when you're taking the test, you can write on paper, right? You can write out the math problems. In fact, you should write out everything fully on paper, right? That's all that means. And the whiteboard stuff is, they mean a physical whiteboard with a pen. And the reason that's there is because some people with disabilities need that, because they have pens that they're much larger print, and it's a very white background, so they can see it more easily, right? And they often have to put it up close to their eyes, and so it's better to have a board rather than a piece of paper. And then they just erase it when they do the next problem. Anyway, that's what this means. You cannot. It does not say that you can use notes. So don't say, "Oh, he said we could use notes," because you use notes, you fail. Okay. So don't do anything risky. It's just not worth it, especially with the new grade rules they came out with today. There's really You need a D minus basically to go on to the next class if this is a prerequisite, rather than a C. So don't mess that up, man, because I'll give you an F if you're cheating. If you're obviously cheating, if it's less obvious, to figure out some smaller penalty. If it's doubt, I mean, if I'm in doubt, then well, okay, I'm not going to do anything. Click the button below to download. Why is it downloading it again? Just connect. I'm just going to wait and then connect. I think it's because it's actually doing the, yeah, okay, well, I'm glad I did this. Don't download it. You already downloaded it. So just wait for this. I don't know why it makes you wait. Maybe it's setting something up in the background. No, it's trying to connect, and it's not connecting. This is probably a Catalina thing, because this doesn't happen on the High Sierra operating system. If you don't have a Mac, you don't know what I'm talking about. What the heck are you talking about? Move to Applications folder. Okay, yeah, sure, it's already there, buddy. There. And just wait, and it'll pop up, because you already downloaded it, so you don't want to hit that here and download it again. Just wait, and it'll pop up. And then immediately go here. Don't let it go away. If you wait too long, the screen closes, and it goes down here, like it did last time. Confirm. It's always going to do this. It's checking like if you have a second monitor hooked up to the same computer. You know, is your microphone on, obviously. Stuff like that. You have to do this again because they have to verify who you are. So they already have your information on your face and stuff, but now they're verifying who you are. So we'll scan it. It's pretty easy. Left side. Right side. This is just like when you apply for a visa to go to, if you need a visa to go to some foreign country. They have both sides in the front, except they use pictures usually. Well, maybe they do this now. Where's my card? Okay, put the card in front. Kind of make sure it's legible before you press scan. Because sometimes it doesn't scan after the first second or two. I've noticed that. I even had dark brown hair. Jesus. Okay. I can read my name, press yes. If not, press no and do it over again. And you might need to look into your lighting. You would read that whole thing, and then you would go in here, and I got to do my scan of my computer. So I'll do that this time. So this I'm actually taking a test, right? So the way I was doing this is I would just kind of, I'm in a rolling chair, so I would just like pick a height and just kind of go around. You just want to make sure you get the whole room, right? Maybe I should be out of the way. And then maybe lower it a little bit. Maybe I need to get out of my, no, I'll just go back a little bit. There we go. There we go. Lower it. It's really important to get the floor like in front of your chair and on the sides, because especially the sides of the chair, because that's where people tend to look if they, it's confusing because it's rotating the opposite way that I see. A lot of people look down at the sides if they're thinking, but that's also where people would look if they had a piece of paper with notes on it. So you're protecting yourself here is what's going on. So that, because if you didn't do this, it seems kind of goofy, but if you didn't do this, now I'm going to put a little bit lower. Notice you shouldn't have papers like that. Just clean everything up, throw it in the drawers or something. You should not have Post-its like that up there. You shouldn't have anything that you can read, really. And you're not even supposed to have a phone on the desk. Definitely not a phone on the desk. No drinks, no food. Just make it bare. If you have a little table, maybe you can open a little table and put everything on that. Anyway, I'm losing track of where I am because I'm talking. So I think I've got pretty much the whole room now, right? So I go, including the desk, of course. And then you will want to take your papers and show me all of your papers. Now, if it's in a binder, you would show me, you know, probably a little bit more than what you're actually going to use. You wouldn't have a post-it note on one of them. That's a bad idea. And so if it's in a notebook, you just put it sideways and just kind of like flip through some pages. I know it seems a little bit silly, but this is just to encourage people not to like, oh, I think I'll write a little note in here because I'm nervous, you know, I'm really stressed or something like that. So it's just to kind of help you to keep yourself honest, really. Okay? So I want you to do that. Remember that, because it's not in the rules that were written there. It's in the thing at the beginning when you're still on the main Blackboard page. Okay, I'm going to stop this because that was too long. It'll take you a little while. That's okay. It's fine. Doing that little scan. Now, if you don't have a laptop, that's really unfortunate, because then you have to use this little mirror. I would recommend trying to get a fairly large mirror. And then you have to shine the mirror. You have to get the whole room in, well, at least from the sides to the front, and then just don't look behind you, okay? You can do that, because it's hard to get behind you with a mirror because you're reflecting off the cam to where it's seeing, so you really can't get behind you. So it's kind of tricky, but you know, maybe pull your computer, like my computer's underneath the front rim of the desk of the hutch. I'd have to pull my computer forward where it's in front of the hutch, you know, and then just kind of, it's really tricky, but you can just do your best and get those important spots, like on the floor, on the left and right, on the floor in front of your feet. And then when you take the test, just don't look anywhere, and then it won't be flagged and it won't matter anyway. Okay? Now this is what happens. This is actually Hawks, but this is what happens if you forget to sign out and then you go to sign in again. So, because you're still signed in. So just sign out and then sign in, right? Maybe you've seen that before. I do that all the time. Go to web test. It's the fastest way to get there. Onboarding test. Oh, I wasn't doing the onboarding. Shoot. Ah! Well, it doesn't matter which one you pick, because this program doesn't have any clue anyway. So let's just pretend that this was test 1. Sorry. You have to pick, when you do the test 1 link, you have to pick the test 1. But that's probably not going to be a problem, because you're going to be thinking, I'm taking test 1 today. And you can take test 1 once through this system. You can take test 2 once through this system. If you got a real high grade on one of those, you might want to do a practice run with it. But I would use the onboarding just repeatedly to practice. You can do it as many times as you want. It's not going to onboard you. I better paste this before I lose the password. There we go. So that's the test password. So it's pretty much the same, right? It's just, it's a little bit easier. You don't have to download anything. And then I'm going to go to the end, and I'm going to submit my assignment. Thought I did submit it. I missed. Now let me think. How do you? Oh, and then this time I'll actually sign out. You can sign out. It's not going to hurt anything. Now you want to send all of this video, including the video of your test and your test taking, to ProctorTrack. So you go up here and you do end send, send end, right? Send. And then that comes up. Yes, I'm sure I'm done. Or back to test. And then end again. Wait. Wait, wait, wait. So there's a few screens where the key is to just wait, and I had a hard time figuring that out because I'm so eager to move ahead. So I kept trying to click on stuff and messed everything up. So that was why it took me quite a while to figure out some of this stuff, just like some of the students. It's really important that you spend whatever time you need to get this done, though, and do it soon so that you don't end up taking tests late. That's one of the reasons I moved the test back to Monday instead of Friday, was so that I could make sure. I didn't know how hard this would be because I hadn't used it yet. It's not too bad once you get used to it, but there's lots of places to get stuck. And unfortunately, if you have apps open, it's going to go batshit crazy on you. And if there are certain settings on your computer, it'll mess up. So keep that. Write down the phone number that I gave you, or put the phone number that I gave you into your phone in the tech support in case you need it sometime in the future, and then just call them. They are not great tech support like Hawks is. They're really not. I think probably 2/3 of them were just hired because of this virus problem. So they're in kind of the same boat we're in. So just be patient, and eventually they'll work it out, okay, with you. They'll probably download something to actually do the setup for you, and just let them do the setup for you. That app sometimes crashes. If it crashes, just leave it, because eventually it'll come back up and it'll ask you to approve them controlling your computer again. And stay at the computer. You want to watch what they're doing. You don't want them fiddling with your computer, right? This is support people. They're either in Bangladesh or India or the U.S., depending on what time of the day. Okay, that's it. I hope that helped. Windows is going to be pretty similar, except I think some of the steps are omitted, so it's maybe a little easier. Anyway, good luck with that. Let me know if you have any problems.